Let's see how things are looking. Welcome, Ms Legalista here. I'm going to be talking about this Nebraska case with the social media influencer and this attraction marketing program that she and others use to sort of build up their image in order to say, hey, consumers, come work with us because we're all that. Well, now the Nebraska Attorney General has filed a lawsuit against them. And I want to start with this article, and then I'm going to pop over to the actual lawsuit. It's got pictures, it's got all the info in there of how they carried out this whole attraction, attraction marketing. I don't want to call it a scheme, scam, fraud, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, that was the process that they were using to sort of hook people in to them, building up their image so that they looked credible. And I talk about this that we often look at people and look for things that say that they are legitimate and credible. A lot of times those things can be made up, they're fake. There are other ways to find out whether or not people are being truthful and honest in what they are presenting. And again, just because they're great people and have done all the right things doesn't mean that they can't mess up and sometimes buy into these programs too. So the attorney general is going after these people, the social media influencer. I'm going to talk about one in particular, one or two in particular. But that doesn't mean that those people didn't buy into a scam that they got sold. So it's like a really bad game of dominoes, right? Where just this party goes after this party, who then goes after that party. And I see it all the time with people just trying to build up their finances so that they're a bit more economically stable, especially after going through this pandemic a few years back. Now everybody's sort of like, wait, I need to build up my bank here. And so they jump into these programs and then sell their program to other people who then, it's this constant just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there. You guys tell me whether or not you have fallen victim to any of this. But let's go ahead and jump into this. This is coming from First Alert 6. This is out of Nebraska again. Let me scroll down here so we can actually see what we're talking about. And like I said, then I'm going to hop over to the complaint where we're going to break it down and look at some of these pictures. Pictures, let me tell you, the fake pictures, you guys have seen it before where they pose in front of the airplane. There's actually the information in this lawsuit about how that took place. So don't believe all of these pictures that you see on social media. Some of this stuff is just so fake. People are trying to get you to buy into this image that they have. Lawsuit filed against Nebraska influencer, filed against Elizabeth Frayson and others. And I'm not sure why they chose to just list her name. I haven't jumped into the lawsuit yet. We're going to go to that. E-commerce automation stores mislead consumers. Well, let me talk about that for a second. I have had people reach out to me to say, hey, I gave this party money to put together this e-commerce store for me. It was a lot of money, a lot of money. And I was just sort of taken aback because I was just kind of like, this is somebody you've never met, a company you've never really heard of. They said they could do it, and you sent them thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I just want to cry for them. But again, when you think of doing business to business, you don't think so much as people scamming you. You usually think, it's a person. But that being said, all right, third bullet here. Alleges consumers lost $3 million by participating. It doesn't take long to get to $3 million if you're charging people like $20,000 a pop. But we're going to see what was going on here. It says the state attorney general filed a lawsuit against a Nebraska social media influencer alleging participation in drop shipping scams, many of them during the pandemic. What did I just say? People were looking for ways to make money. They were looking for ways to make money. Businesses had shut down, even for people who were working from home. Some of them had hours reduced. And so they were looking for a way to fill that gap in their income. The bank was saying, hey, the mortgage still has to be paid. You still had to keep on the lights. You still had to buy food. You still had to keep up the health insurance. Where was that money going to come from? Well, that's when they reached out and started following people like some of these social media influencers. Nebraska AG Mike Helders, and I'm not sure if that's how you say his name, he argues that this person and the company that she worked with, called Wi-Fi Money, were part of various income schemes. The lawsuit filing includes several posts from her Instagram account, which refers to her as Mrs. Nebraska American 2024 in the bio. Look at how many followers she has there. Almost 500,000 followers, 565 posts. That's a lot of people that you are sharing information with about, hey, here's how you can make money. Here's how you can have passive income coming in. Don't feel threatened and worried when another pandemic comes. Have your family's economic finances, ready to go, stable, money in the bank. Yeah. That's a lot of people who are listening to commentary about how to have how to have money coming in, how to have strong economic stability in your family. You guys, it's early, so I'm just falling all over my words here. The lawsuit accuses the defendants of being highly misleading, enticing the public to buy automated e-commerce stores. Says Nebraskans were allegedly tricked with empty promises of money-back guarantees. Well, now that's another thing. So sometimes you think, well, hey, if this doesn't work, I can get my money back. I can get my money back and things will be okay. Well, not if they don't give it back. I've worked with clients before where that has been a thing. They were told, yes, it is a money back guarantee. And then when they came back and said, hey, I want my money back, the company said no, outright no. Not I'm working with it working with you to get it to. It was no, we're not giving it back. So yeah, that was a problem. The lawsuit alleges Nebraskans lost $3 million. The scam allegedly worked like this. At least 60 Nebraskans led to believe, mostly through social media posts, that their participation in e-commerce automation would result in big payoffs. Paid tens of thousands of dollars to get themselves set up to manage e-commerce stores on Amazon and Walmart.com. I'm telling you, this happened. The lawsuit alleges that each consumer who paid into the scam lost at least $15,000 and that several lost more than $100. A person who reached out to me, and I didn't represent this person. This was just a person who had some questions about it after something like this had happened to them. I think that person had paid out over $20,000 to have a store set up for that person. In return, the lawsuit alleges that the social media influencer earned commissions every time a customer wired money to a defendant using the Wi-Fi Money service, then spent the money on items including multiple luxury vehicles, multi-million-dollar mansions, jewelry, designer clothing, private spaces, and lake houses. You guys, they have some information here about how to file the lawsuit. So that gives you a bit of the background here. And they've got the lawsuit here. Let me see if I can pull this up so that we can take a look at it, because I want to really go through it and break some of the initial pieces down. And I'm probably going to do a few videos on this because I think that this is good information for people to be aware of. Now, let's see if I can find all of this stuff that I have up here. I constantly have multiple things open. Let's stop sharing that for a second. You could just look at me while I pull this together. I'm actually simulcasting today. Whoops, not where I'm trying to go. On Kick and YouTube Live at the same time. And this is the first time I have done this. And when I got on StreamYard to do it, it said something like, we are experiencing a high volume of traffic right now. Come back in 30 to 60 seconds. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me here. You got to be kidding. And part of the reason that it bothered me so much today, and it really didn't bother me a whole lot, but why it bothered me a little was because I've just gone through this whole thing, switching from Verizon to Spectrum Cable. And it's just been a mess with what I had before. But now I got something new. And I've actually plugged it in some hardwired today. And I'm hoping that this is going to be a very stable connection. So far, so good. Since the switch has been back, it's been great. We were on the boundary, on the edge of Verizon service area, which is why we just were not getting good coverage with 5G. Here is a lawsuit. Here is this lawsuit. I'm going to go through the introductory piece in this video, break everything down the background. You're going to see some pictures in here too, but on round 2 video, that's when we're going to do a deep dive into this Wi-Fi money scheme and more of the marketing attraction process that they had in place. Look, so you can see here, I guess I should find another way to go down here. Oh, this is just torture. Can we go back up, please? All right. No. Why? All right, so maybe you can see all of the different parties there as I continue to try to get that right. You can see the number of people here who are defendants in this case, and this is a complaint. Let's scroll on down and get into some of this. State of Nebraska is coming after them for to address a pattern of deceptive and unfair business practices related to the sale of passive income services. And we know really and truly passive income just means delayed because you have already put in the work at some point in time. And we understand that, right? That you're not really getting something for doing nothing, that at some point in time, you actually did something. All right, it says resulted in millions in lost savings for Nebraska consumers. The state is seeking to obtain injunctive relief, meaning, hey, stop what you're doing, a refund of what's been paid out, some civil penalties, and other equitable relief. Let's scroll on to the next page here. So let's go through this introduction here. Defendants have engaged in a pattern of deceptive and unfair business practices whereby they've misled consumers nationwide by promising financial freedom. That's what people are looking for, financial freedom, not to wake up in the morning having to worry about bills being paid. Through various passive income services, resulting in more than $3 million in lost savings. We've already talked about that. This is shortly after defendants began offering their automated e-commerce store services. It became evident that they did not work and could not actually produce extra income for their clients. Let's talk about this for a second. This sort of automated e-commerce store service. When you think about even the biggest stores that are out there, retail operations that have stores on the internet so that people can just go to them and shop, even they engage in marketing, traditional marketing, social media marketing. They're giving sales. They're doing all kinds of things to keep people coming back. This idea of automated where you don't have to do anything at all should start to, cause some red flags to be waved when we hear those sorts of words. A lot of times, though, people are looking for something easier. They don't necessarily have a whole lot of time because they're already working one job. Remember, they're looking for financial freedom here. They're already working one job, so they don't necessarily have a whole lot of time. They need something that says, hey, it's automated. You're not going to have to do a whole lot. They also need something that doesn't require them to have a whole lot of technological expertise, experience, education around this stuff. And they don't have time to learn it. So when you say automated and you say, oh, no, you don't have to learn how to build a website. You don't have to learn how to do all this fancy SEO marketing. You don't have to do any of that. It's all automated. Well, to them, that goes, oh, okay, well, that's going to make it easier for me. I know I got to do some stuff, but it's going to be passive. It's going to be automated. I won't have to do anything. Well, that's so not true. But that is what people buy into when they're pursuing this financial freedom. They're thinking this is going to be passive and this is going to help them with their struggles. All right. So yes, it did not work. This is what the AG is alleging. Defendants continued promoting the scheme to consumers via social media and elsewhere, unfairly inducing many consumers to pay tens of thousands of dollars into a scheme that was doomed to fail. I feel like this is like Lord of the Rings or something here. They were going up to the mountain of doom with some of this. All right, says defendant's scheme was brought to Nebraska. Uh, let's see if I can, this is just, if I could just get it to, the whole moving on the laptop and trying to get this stuff to slide is killing me. Let's see. Defendant's scheme was brought to Nebraska by defendant Liz. We're going to call her defendant Liz, who received commissions each time a consumer wired funds to defendants. Wi-Fi money, some of those other parties I went over in the beginning. To entice consumers to wire their funds, defendant Liz made misleading and deceptive claims regarding the breadth and success of defendants' e-commerce automation schemes. Now, here's the thing. Suppose you're asking the right questions. You're saying, okay, so tell me how many people you have worked with. How many e-commerce stores have you set up? How many of them are actually making a profit each month? What does that profit look like? Is it $1? You want to know what you're getting into here. Even if you're asking the right questions, what if the other person doesn't tell you the truth? And it says here, defendant Liz made misleading and deceptive claims regarding not just the breadth, but the success of their schemes, the success. So yeah, send me something in writing. Send me an email giving me that information about how successful your clients have been. Well, it sounds like the information that was provided was misleading and deceptive. Defendant Liz also misrepresented her own success in finances, flaunting a high-end and wealthy persona online to mislead consumers into believing the services she and the defendants offered would give consumers access to similar levels of wealth and success. So this is like proximity wealth, right? If I'm around people who are wealthy and look wealthy and have friends who are wealthy, then by being in proximity to them or buying their services, that I too can be wealthy. Y'all, that's not how this works. That is not how this works. But that is the attraction marketing scheme that they were using. Like, this is killing me. It says, so yes, as Friesen, a Nebraska resident, she personally spearheaded much of the harm to Nebraska consumers. Don't you hate that? You know how they say it always be your own people, right? So there she was, a resident of Nebraska. Yep, going after her own people in this scheme. Let's scroll down for a little bit. We're on paragraph 5 now. After taking money from Nebraska consumers, defendants spent the funds on luxury vacations in exotic locales, Lamborghinis, Cadillac Escalades, and other high-end vehicles, multi-million-dollar mansions, jewelry, designer clothing, private airplanes, a lake house, and countless other extravagances. Defendants then used their lavish lifestyles to lure more consumers into the scheme, by posting social media content of themselves enjoying the fruits of their misdeeds and deceptions. Defendants concealed the fact that their lifestyles were being financed by millions in lost savings from consumers nationwide, including many from Nebraska. It says they also took advantage of the confusion and uncertainty when this pandemic was going on, including the sudden explosion in online shopping brought on by business closures and the financial uncertainties that came with a global pandemic. You see what's going on? Like, they took advantage of what was going on with the pandemic and the uncertainty, the fear that people had, the chaos that was going on, not just in people's personal lives, but in the business and retail world. It says at least 60 Nebraska consumers have each paid tens of thousands of dollars to manage e-commerce stores on Amazon and Walmart, resulting in millions lost. We've already talked about how much. So let's scroll down into this drop shipping piece here. This is killing me, right? The automated quote automated. You like how they put it in quotes, right? Because, like I said before, nothing about this was really automated. You have to do something if you want it to be successful. But they were selling this easier lifestyle for getting money. The automated e commerce store services promoted by defendants involved an online sales technique known as drop shipping. A lot of you are probably familiar with that, where a business or individual opens an online store and lists items for sale from other online retailers. And really and truly, they don't have to be online retailers. They can be brick and mortar manufacturers, other parties out there. When a customer purchases an item from a drop shipper, the drop shipper purchases the item from a third party retailer and the item is shipped directly to the customer. Okay. Then you have drop shippers aim to identify products being sold by online retailers that could be resold somewhere else for a profit. And then whoever's doing the drop shipping, of course, is the party that makes the money. My scrolling here is killing me. It says drop shipping has many flaws, not the least of which is the fact that customers can simply pay the lower price from the third party, right? Instead of purchasing it from the drop shipper. The practice is also risky because the drop shipper has no visibility into the third party retailer's operations. For example, the drop shipper is unable to ensure that the customer actually received what he or she ordered. I mean, that it just depends, right? The customer service can be an issue. The drop shipper's customers often purchase items that are no longer in stock, or the third party retailer may inadvertently ship the wrong item. Well, let's just be honest here for a fact. For a minute. That's not something that is only happening in the drop shipping world. You can order directly from the retailer who has these products that you could go pick up if you went to their store, and it could still be out of stock. Haven't you had someone send you the wrong product before? Yes. Yes. So this is not something that happens only in the drop shipping world. I get what they're saying, but I just want to be clear about that. All right. The industry is highly competitive. Okay, we know a lot of that. I think we have an idea of what was going on there. Drop shipping has a low barrier to entry. But I want to scroll down to the Wi-Fi money piece. If I can scroll here. Okay, Wi-Fi money. Defendants. All right, there are defendants listed there. Flaunt extravagant lifestyles on social media through carefully choreographed photographs of themselves with high-end cars and private jets, wearing expensive jewelry and designer clothing, and taking luxury vacations in exotic locales. They're selling a lifestyle, okay? They're selling a lifestyle. They're selling the idea that people can be free from having to worry about money. This is what they're selling. They're selling peace of mind, right? Unless otherwise stated, at all times material herein, Wi-Fi money defendants acted as agents of this other company. Remember, I talked early on. It's usually 3 or 4 of these companies working together. And up here, you got the head honcho who came up with the idea, and they're going to sell their, scheme to this other party who then sells the scheme to this other party and it goes on and on and on. Because essentially, think about that. She bought into this sort of idea of how she could make money, getting commissions off of selling some services to some other people on how they could make money, right? It's like this domino of grifting that just goes on and on. Paragraph 20 says the Wi-Fi money defendants claim they are paid to live and their expensive lifestyles are financed by their work for Wi-Fi money, which is owned by these other two people here. So we've got a list of some of these parties here, but let's scroll down if we can. For each consumer who purchased the drop shipping defendants services, Wi-Fi money received half of the consumer's initial startup fee. Oh, which ranged from $15,000 to $55,000. The remaining funds will be pocketed by the drop shipping defendants and their principals. See how this works? The Wi-Fi money defendants fooled Nebraska consumers into believing their lavish lifestyles were financed by their own automated drop shipping stores. See, That's what gets them. People see all of the money, the fancy houses, the fancy cars, and they think that the defendant Liz, is making her money because she's been doing some drop shipping stores and she has e-commerce sites and she's been providing these services. That's not really how she's been making her money, according to this. They say really these people were making their money because they were selling the services and they were, I don't want to call them kickbacks, but they were getting their commission, their percentage that was coming back to them. These other parties hadn't really provided services, is what they're saying. It says, yes, people thought that they were doing their stores, but yeah, it was just money flowing up the chain, money flowing up the chain. All right, let's go to the next paragraph here. Okay, so now let's talk about defendant Liz, and let's see some of what she was actually promoting out here, what she was saying in order to get people to buy into some of this. It says in or around the fall of 2019, Wi-Fi Money recruited, we're going to call her defendant Liz, a Nebraska resident, to become an affiliate. You guys, I talk about this sometimes. Be careful who you align yourself with. When they say, hey, would you like to become an affiliate of our company? Would you like to be an ambassador for our company? I have relationships with some companies where I'm an affiliate and I get a percentage of certain sales. You have to disclose that information, right? So they said, hey, we're going to recruit you. So they recruited her to become an affiliate for Wi-Fi Money and trained her to recruit Nebraska consumers to pay large sums of money for the paid to live services that Wi-Fi Money promoted. It says Friesen, going down to paragraph 26, Friesen branded herself as a Wi-Fi Money mentor. You know, you always got to come up with a caption, right? Some sort of lingo that people can buy into. Hey, mine is Ms Legalista, right? I talk about some of this stuff related to the law, scams, and fraud. She branded herself as a Wi-Fi Money mentor and passive income strategist who could help her followers create financial abundance and earn hands-free profit through the passive income machine she was promoting. Let's look at these titles she came up with. So Wi-Fi Money mentor, passive income strategist, meaning I have some strategies to help you so that you don't have to work to make all your money. And then create financial abundance. What did we already talk about? Financial freedom. That's what people are looking for. I don't want to struggle anymore. I want financial freedom. Earn hands-free profit. Again, saying you don't have to put the work in. You don't have to put the work in. This is passive. And we know that there's always some work that's involved. Through her passive income machine, which sounds like, hey, I've got a strategy, a blueprint, a plan that you can use that will help you achieve this financial freedom and abundance. So that's how the Attorney General is saying this was broken down. Let's slow down. Let's scroll down a little bit and see some of the pictures that they actually have up here. It says in 2020, I took action and invested $35K into a passive income machine, generating 6 to 10K in hands-free profit. That's what she put up there. And then you can see the piece that says Wi-Fi Money, right? And she's got some they've got some other things up here. What if I had an opportunity for you today? And then again, as I said before, she's got almost 500K followers on the Instagram account there. And again, you can see here the description underneath her name, where it's Wi-Fi Money mentor, IG marketing expert, passive income strategist, featured in at Yahoo Finance and Business Insider. Okay, so we're going to get to the point where we actually talk about how that happened. Part of the whole scheme included, remember what I talked about, attraction marketing, where you make yourself look attractive to these other people so that they want to hire you. And let's be clear here. That happens everywhere. For anybody who is trying to get a job or work with someone else, you want to put your best face forward, your best foot forward, your best resume on LinkedIn, because what people see is that first before they ever even meet you. One of the things that they talked about was, hey, let's get you some good press. Get you some good press. Build that credibility. Build that legitimacy so that you look good and you can sell to more people. Yes. Let's scroll down and see where they go after this. It says paragraph 25. As a Wi-Fi Money mentor, she worked directly underneath Casey, who was Wi-Fi Money's chief operating officer and the owner of defendant iSocial. So was another one of the parties here. So they talk a little bit about the defective and unfair sales techniques that were used here. It says, whoops, let's see if we can scroll back up. Nebraska consumers who paid for defendant's services were instructed to set up stores through Amazon or Walmart.com, then open a credit card that would be used to purchase store inventory. The drop shipping defendants were then given access to the consumer's credit cards, ostensibly to purchase inventory for their stores. Many consumers had fraudulent charges appear on their credit cards while the drop shipping defendants had access to them. Now, let me stop here. You have gotten a credit card and you are now going to give that to another party for you to have a store. Like this is such a no. This is such a no. Why would you ever do that? Why? Because you've bought into this sort of idea that they're credible and legitimate. They've sold you on their success, which the Attorney General said was deceptive and misleading. That's why you do it, because you think you are dealing with a credible and legitimate business entity, multiple business entities here, because of this air of credibility and this attraction marketing scheme that they have put together. Because ordinarily, when you get a credit card, do you give your credit card over to other people to then use and run up when you know that you are the one who is ultimately responsible? No. In real life, we don't do that. We don't do that. But the social media world has us confused. And I'm trying to help us get back on track, which is why we are going through this. Many consumers have fraudulent charges. All right. Paragraph 31, to induce consumers to buy into this scheme, Friesen and Casey told consumers they would earn as much as $10,000 or more per month in passive income. I'm just like, I need to see people's spreadsheets. I need to see the Excel spreadsheet with everything laid out. I need to see the profit and loss statement for the month. I need to see something more than just you saying it's going to be 10K per month in passive income at that. They also said the profit margins from consumers' stores would be at least 10% of gross sales. Now, sure, for online sales, we can expect that there is a larger profit margin there because you don't have the expenses associated with a brick and mortar location. But still, you got to pay for the website. There's still some things that you have to pay for here. All right, let's look at some of these pictures that they have up here. Let's see. Already talked about this one that she had, that this one says, here's the part right here. Easy 6, easy. The moment they tell you it's easy, that's when you need to pack up your bags and run the other way. Easy 6 to 10K a month for this client. Look at the next one. 204,000 in sales, hands-free for Christmas. For Christmas. Look at how they are buying into, how they are tapping into people's concerns about wanting to have a good time during Christmas, wanting to be able to provide Christmas presents for their family and friends, for their children. Hands-free, you don't have to do a whole lot of work for Christmas. Yes. All right. And then the last one that says, are you ready? Are you ready to earn money too with us? This is how the scheme works. Well, let's scroll down and see what we have next. Oh, we got more pictures here. What if you could own a $170,000 profit business and do nothing? That old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Red flag number 1, this sounds too good to be true. And number 2, if it were that easy, tons of people, everybody who was struggling would be doing it. And we wouldn't see so many people still concerned about their economic finances because everybody would be doing this, right? If it were so easy and if people were really making $170,000 in profit by doing nothing, then they'd be here, right? Look at that. 1.6 million in yearly sales, easy 170K. And they're showing these numbers here. But this doesn't mean anything. You don't know where these numbers came from. You have no idea. They could have just made that up, right? Or the person that they got it from. One thing that could be done is this sort of verification by a third party. Say, hey, as part of the process, because this is what happens in the real world when you're dealing with numbers like this, they're like, oh, we need to actually take a look at your books before we come in and come on board. And we want to run the numbers ourselves. We've got our accounting team here, our accounting firm, one of the big six. Like, no, they're talking these kind of numbers and people just believe it. They just believe it. Okay. Because again, they're selling peace of mind, and that's what people are trying to buy. Then we've got this other one, Amazon seller here, 401K sales in 1 month is what they're touting. Income making 10%. I'm just gonna stop with those because I can't even take it anymore. Paragraph 32 says, in reality, the consumers who paid defendants either earned no profit at all or lost money due to items being sold at a loss. Friesen and Casey led Nebraska consumers to believe that drop shipping defendants had a proven track record of success and reliable systems in place. Remember, that was that passive income machine. Critically, however, drop shipping defendants had only been in operation for a short period of time. And, well, I lost my place. In reality, defendants lost. I'm totally lost at where I am now. Paragraph 34. Drop shipping defendants had only been in operation for a short period of time and did not have proven systems that could perform the services they were offering. Let me tell you this. I've been around a few companies, and big or small, many times they are missing just the standard operating procedures. I'm not even talking about anything special. I'm just talking about the regular, okay? Just the regular things that you need to have in place when it comes to human resources, hiring and firing, making sure that people have a good understanding of the benefits that the company offers. Even when you're working together, I see all the time that these are missing. So I'm not surprised to read this here and find out that they did not even have these proven systems in place that they were talking about. This is not anything that's different. What's the problem here is that they were saying they did have them in place. That's the issue. They were being deceptive and they were being misleading. All right, so Wi-Fi Money claimed it had a proven e-commerce automation system that would put its clients' money to work for them. Okay, look at some of this. E-commerce is booming and it's not slowing down anytime soon. So how can you use this trend to your advantage? Tap here to check it out. Learn how I use it to make my money work for me with our proven automation system. Take advantage of e-commerce today. And then they have some links there for people. And then, of course, they're sharing the money too. It's the deception. It is the deception. If they actually had these systems in place, if they actually had clients who were successful, then we wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be doing this video. Paragraph 37, these claims were highly misleading as consumers were left to manage the stores on their own. What happened to that passive? I told you, the work is always the work. They were left to manage the stores on their own due to gross neglect and mismanagement by the drop shipping defendants. This is another thing I've seen. So many people who were willing to jump on board to sell products and sell services to other parties, not understanding that you need to have some sort of system in place. You might need to actually hire some people to come in and do this extra work. This idea that it's hands off, that you're not going to have to do anything, is just not true. There is always going to be something that has to be done, even if it's just administrative. And so when you tell people, hey, it's going to be hands-free money, you're going to use our passive income machine, and then you just ghost them almost by not helping them even manage the stores, that's a problem. And remember, they talked about this being easy. And I talked about it being easier because people were like, hey, I don't have the time to do this, number one. And number two, I don't have the expertise. So now you've left me. And even if I had the time, do I have the expertise? That's why I hired you. That's why I hired the experts because I can't do it. And I'm always thinking if I'm going to pay you, you're going to do a better job than I would. Not the case here. Not the case here. It says they were left to manage the stores. Neglect and gross neglect and mismanagement. For example, paragraph 8 says the drop shipping defendants frequently listed items for sale without permission from suppliers, resulting in legal notices sent to Nebraska consumers demanding that they discontinue sales of certain products. Nebraska consumers were left to respond to these and many other problems on their own. So now they've gotten these people in legal trouble, okay, where they could possibly be facing litigation. Litigation. You got to go hire an attorney, or they're going to get a default judgment against you if you don't respond. Paragraph 39, for consumers who had stores set up on Amazon, their stores would almost immediately be flagged by Amazon due to high order defect rates, negative customer reviews, high return rates, order cancellations, unfulfilled orders, fraudulent credit card purchases, sale of counterfeit goods, fake tracking numbers, and many other problems. Look at that. So you get the store set up. Even if you get them to set it up, look at what was happening here. Not good. Not good at all. Due to the suspicious activity, Amazon froze funds in consumers' accounts, forcing Nebraska consumers to pay off large credit card bills out of their own pockets, which led to hundreds of thousands more in lost savings for Nebraska consumers. Imagine getting caught up in this. Think this through for a second. You have gone to this company because you like this social media, and she's been telling you you can make passive income, hands-free money, and now you got a credit card with debt that you didn't have before. You have given them thousands of dollars to set up a company, e-commerce store, and now they've dropped you and they're not handling that. You're getting your store gets shut down because of all of this other stuff. Look at that list. That's a long list. That is a long list. Amazon then freezes the account. Oh, take me to paragraph 41. Consumers eventually discovered that Amazon froze their funds if their store manager engaged in any of that deceptive, fraudulent, or illegal activity, or if the manager abused Amazon's systems or repeatedly violated Amazon's policies. Well, if you're this company and you're managing multiple stores and you're doing it wrong at every single one of them, that would be repeatedly. Friesen and Casey encouraged some Nebraska consumers to take out high interest loans to finance the fees they paid to the drop shipping defendants. Oh, so they had the credit cards, and the money that they paid them wasn't even their money. They had taken out loans with high interest on them. Double whammy. When their stores did not earn the profits they were promised, Nebraskans were left to pay back the loans and thousands in interest out of their own pockets. One Nebraska consumer had to refinance her home to pay off the loan she obtained at Friesen's urging. Another consumer was forced to use the proceeds from the sale of her home and an early distribution from a retirement account to pay back unpaid credit card balances and the loans Friesen encouraged her to obtain. Many consumers paid the drop shipping defendants after Friesen rushed them to wire funds to take advantage of unique sales opportunities like Amazon's Prime Day, Black Friday, back to school, or the holiday season, only to not have a store set up by the time these sales opportunities came around. So there you are. You've taken out, loans to get this stuff and the store isn't even set up. Furthermore, Friesen and Casey assured consumers they would receive a refund if they were unhappy. You guys, okay? So that's where people start to get a level of comfort because they say, "Oh, well, I can get my money back." Well, they can tell you that, but how do you get that money back? What does that look like? According to Friesen and Casey, the opportunity carried little to no risk because of the money back guarantee. However, the contract signed by Nebraska consumers contained provisions saying that no refund would be given until 14 to 17 months after their stores were open. And any periods of time the stores were deactivated or suspended did not count toward the refund period. Defendants concealed the fact that deactivations and suspensions were a near certainty, making the refund guarantees meaningless. Think about what I just said. Amazon would shut these stores down sometimes very early on. And so this 11 to 17 months could be 2 years later once you included the time that it was shut down. Look at how long that is. You are not going to get a refund until 14 to 17 months after the stores were open. Oh, this is awful. Paragraph 48. After months, let's see if we can scroll. After months of headaches and no passive income to show for their time, effort, and money spent, many consumers finally asked defendants for the refunds they were promised. They were told, however, that since their stores were deactivated or suspended, they were not eligible for a refund. I'm sure those were some pretty upset consumers. None of the Nebraska consumers who paid defendants received the refund they were promised, even though all of them, either earned no money or lost money through their stores. Let's say that again. There was a money back guarantee. And this paragraph says that none of the consumers who paid defendants received any of their money back, even though they either earned no money or lost money. Let's look at their modus operandi. It says Friesen and Casey were not the only Wi-Fi money affiliates using misleading sales techniques to entice consumers. Now, scam jobs are out there. Sometimes there's no way for you to truly know what the job entails or what the work is that you're going to be doing as an affiliate or ambassador or whatever, or contractor, until you're actually in the position. There's no way for you to know that in advance. Like I said, you can do all the research, you can ask people and look around, and it could be that there's not the information out there. It could be that you're given deceptive or misleading answers to your questions. And so the only way for you to really know is to actually serve in the position, to be that affiliate and find out what's going on. Well, after a little while, you ought to be able to figure out that this is not something that you want to be a part of. And then it's time to move on. So it says here, they were not the only Wi-Fi Money affiliates using misleading sales techniques to entice consumers. Wi-Fi Money and several of its affiliates have been sued by clients in lawsuits across the country, including 31 plaintiffs in a suit in Florida, alleging fraudulent inducement and misrepresentations. The plaintiffs in these lawsuits allege that Wi-Fi Money and its affiliates promised passive income of $5,000 to $10,000 per month selling goods online and money back guarantees if their stores did not work out. These promises, they allege, never came to fruition. So now you have the Federal Trade Commission's online consumer Sentinel network contains complaints from at least 90 consumers nationwide since April 2020 against the Wi-Fi Money defendants and their business partners. These consumers report the familiar misleading promises of financial freedom, passive income, and empty refund guarantees. Remember, it's supposed to be little to no risk because you get your money back, and it was not true. It says to add insult to injury, let's scroll down. To add insult to injury, when it was all said and done, defendants divvied up the savings they took from Nebraska consumers amongst themselves. And instead of using funds to make good on their promises or pay back losses, they pocketed the money and splurged on luxury vacations, Lamborghinis, McLarens, Cadillac Escalades, a Porsche, multi-million dollar mansions, a boat, private airplanes, jewelry, something redacted, designer clothing, a lake house, and countless other extravagances. Defendants continue to flaunt their success on social media to lure other consumers to pay them for an endless stream of easy money opportunities. Since giving up their drop shipping scheme, the Wi-Fi money defendants have moved on. They got a new scheme now to selling cryptocurrency, of course, and helping clients apply for the federal government's self-employment tax credit, employee retention credit, and payback protection program loans. All three programs have been hotbeds for scammers trying to take advantage of pandemic era relief programs. You guys, so if the first scheme doesn't work, you just move on to the second, third, fourth, and fifth scheme. And this is what they're laying out in this lawsuit. Let's see, the last piece we're going to go over here. Several of the Wi-Fi money defendants are currently promoting a high-end real estate opportunity that promises to make their followers rich if they have enough cash to buy into the scheme. In an Instagram post from August 13, 2024. So look, now we've gone from like 2020 to 2024 here. A Wi-Fi money affiliate named Willie Moeller invited his followers with a large social media presence to send him a direct message with the word money to take advantage of a seven-figure opportunity. The post does not elaborate on what the opportunity entails or how it could make his followers any money. Defendant Moeller recently invited his followers with liquidity to send him a direct message with the word partner, to partner with Wi-Fi money on the biggest business yet. And this is all in quotations. And liquidity just means let me know if you got money. You're just letting me know you got money. The Moellers each have a large following on Instagram that include many consumers in Nebraska. So that is how this whole thing was sort of set up. And this is what the AG, the Attorney General in Nebraska, is alleging. In the next video, so those are the parties. I'm not going to get into that a whole lot. In the next video or live, depending upon what I'm going to do, is I'm going to go through these facts and break this down so that you can see. And then we're going to go through so you can actually see what they were posting on social media. I've shared a little bit of it, but this is how they were putting together this whole attraction marketing here, showing people this lifestyle. Remember, I told you what they're selling to people is peace of mind, a certain lifestyle, hands-free passive income so that they don't have to work or they can work less. And then they can be flying around the world, taking vacations, hanging out, private jets, driving fancy cars. This is what they're selling here. And a question to ask is, why people feel the need to go that far. Many people just want to be able to buy a decent, nice house in a safe neighborhood, make sure that they have some savings built up so that they're not worried the next time a pandemic comes around. They might not even be trying to go this far, but I just want to get a little bit better in terms of where things are. So I try not to beat people up who are falling for some of this, because really and truly, they are being targeted with the words that some of these influencers and sellers are using. They recognize what your pain point is. They understand what it is you're trying to do. And that's what they use to target you. And that's what they're trying to sell you. They're trying to sell you these things to make that pain go away. All right, that is truly it. I have spoken a whole lot here. And like I said, I'm going to go over the rest, break down some more of those pictures that you just saw, the whole attraction marketing scheme that was being used. But don't forget to follow me, subscribe, depending upon where you've watched this, YouTube, I don't know, Substack, or even Kick. All right, peace. Mwah.